Hey, it's Chiki Linguini, and today I had the pleasure of speaking with Sheila all about sound bathing and what it does to our nervous system. We spoke about how traumas in our life can sometimes dictate how we respond to life and triggers today. We discuss how the bowls and how meditation can really help us get back into our rest and digest mode. At the end, there is a demonstration of what sound bowls are, and Sheila plays for us. I laid down and meditated. It was wonderful. So make sure you watch to the end. Today we're here with Sheila. Sheila, if you want to introduce yourself.
I'm Sheila. Alex and I are going to be talking about sound healing. I am a sound bowl practitioner in school, incorporating elements of therapy, getting my degree in social work. So my intention is to use sound bowls in a therapeutic setting, an intentional setting.
Thank you. So can you tell us a little bit about just what it is? What is sound bathing? Who should do it? Who would benefit from it? Give it to us.
So what it is essentially the practice of incorporating sound bowls and then playing them, essentially like instruments. It's been used for centuries. The ancient Egyptians have been using it. There are sound temples like in the pyramids. Ancient Aboriginals from like Australia have been using it for like 40,000 years as like a healing modality, really, because of the calming effects it has on the body. It relaxes you, relaxes the kids. It is a healing modality that we're incorporating now in like our Western society. We have been doing so. That has been around for centuries and centuries.
So who is healing? Do you have to be actually playing it to get the healing? Or you just, if you listen, are you getting the healing?
That's a good question. So definitely as the one doing it, I started off with just my own personal like sacred practice, and it was healing for me. When I was doing it, typically my boyfriend was there or my brother or somebody was there, and then they would like fall asleep or like relax and like really truly enjoy it. So then I had an experience with sound healing that was very profound. My first experience with it was I didn't know what to expect, and I went into a sound bath session with Arlise, and I was like, do I bring my bathing suit? Like I don't know what this is at all. And we showed up, and basically she just had these like very beautiful bowls and a gong, and we just sat down and listened. And that was my first exposure to them. And then after that, I just became so interested. I bought it, and it was a personal practice. But not only am I receiving the benefits, everyone who's around is receiving the benefits because of the vibrations that are emitted. Anyone within hearing vicinity or like close enough to be in contact with them will benefit from it because of the sound and the vibrations. Like, our body is 70% water-ish, and we can fill up the sound bowl and put water inside of it, and we'll see the ripples. Or if there's loud music playing in the background, you can see this glass of water and you'll see ripples. So we see the effect that sound bowls or sound has on water. Therefore, why would it be any different within us and our bodies, since we have so much water in our system?
Very true. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
It's lovely. I didn't ever think of it like that.
Yeah. Jackie, my teacher, it's like she talks about that a lot. It was one of the first things she touched upon in our first lesson. She's great. She asked me, so what do you want people to feel when you're playing for them? And I said safety. It's the first thing I thought of, actually, safety.
So what about safety?
The reason why I want to incorporate the bowls into therapy is because of the healing effects it has in our nervous system, right? And that can be pretty complicated in of itself to try and explain, but just to simplify it, there's the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest, calm And the sympathetic nervous system is where we have these dysregulations of the nervous system. That's what we're referring to. You're in fight, flight, freeze. And people say that children, and some people also do fawn, which is like a new addition to it. But yeah, when we experience a stressful event and our heart races and our hands start shaking or sweating, and we need to go to the bathroom because our body is just trying, everything happens at once. And as children, when we're exposed to many traumatic events or many instances where our nervous system is altered, or as young adults or even adults, your brain starts activating those connections, and then those connections become stronger than the other connections in your brain, like the connections between developing connection, like friendship, a good self-esteem. It focuses on the other parts of the brain, the survival parts. So when we have, it could be a little stressor now in present day, because those connections have been formed, I am likely to enter that nervous state much easier and more frequently because of the way my brain developed, or because of the way people's brain developed when they were growing up and they were experiencing trauma.
Exactly. I wanted to mention really quick, trauma for everybody isn't like this big traumatic thing that happens in your life. It doesn't have to be like this big car accident or this big moment. Traumas can be little everyday things that maybe your needs weren't met as a child simply by asking for advice from your parent and they couldn't give it to you in that moment. That could be traumatic. And just wanted to put that out there because sometimes people hear that and they're like, oh, I've never been in trauma. This is definitely not for me. I grew up fine. Just because you grew up fine without a big traumatic event doesn't mean that you don't have past traumas in your life that are dictating how you are now.
It's a great disclaimer because, yeah, I get that reaction a lot. A lot of people, they're like, no, I didn't experience trauma, and then they tune out because they think it doesn't pertain to them. But there's a really big study that was done, the ACEs study, where your parents getting a divorce is a traumatic effect, is trauma, is traumatic. Yeah. Like you said, your needs not being addressed, your parents not being able to attune to your needs because they themselves are dysregulated. And it's not their fault, it's just the way that they were raised and then that their parents were raised, and it's a cycle, So we're walking around in dysregulated states all the time, because we're in traffic, or because stress from school or stress from work, and whatever. And it's unfortunate, but it's become like our norm so people don't even think there's anything wrong or off. And it isn't until we're exposed to something like this. It's different for everybody. Like, for me, it was sound bowls. For you, it was like healing your gut and anxiety, and then how that has helped you, right? So, but we're basically leading to the same answer. Like, you talk about vagus nerve a lot. That's huge. That's one of the biggest parts of the nervous system, like activating the vagus nerve. Basically, your vagus nerve is a very long nerve that just so happens to coincide with when we talk about like our chakra points. It goes to your forehead, it attaches through your throat, like it connects everything. It rests in the middle of your spine. And it's just a bundle of nerves that we can do certain things to activate it, like humming, like cold baths, like the breathing that you talked about, like all of that. And then once it becomes activated, it heals our nervous system. With vibrations is what we're doing when we do sound healing. And when you activate your vagus nerve, then you're able to bring your body from the dysregulated state that we were talking about to the parasympathetic rest and digest state. And it's a complicated process, obviously, and one-time exposure to the bowls or exposure to a meditation session or anything just won't cut it. It's like personal practice and dedication and commitment to wanting to heal it. That's ultimately going to be the biggest like driving factor towards change, or like towards a calmer, more peaceful state of being. But for me, I found that the bowls was like a great introduction and a really quick and efficient way of getting to the root cause, which is your nervous system. It's like, if I can choose one thing that I think people should focus on before or during therapy or anything when they're trying to better their relationships, depression, anxiety, anything, is regulating your nervous system. And how you do it is different. People go on runs, people go for walks, like whatever, but that regulation and that safety. So regulation equals safety, like in my mind. You know, you are free. You not only feel relaxed, but you're free to be yourself. You know, you're free to just not worry about not worry. So sometimes that worry is like, I'm worrying about what people think of me. I'm worrying about the future. I'm worrying about, and that's where a lot of the social anxiety comes in. You know, I'm
so focused, worried about everything else, and you're not in the present moment. And so we're talking about the parasympathetic nervous system, and digestion goes right hand in hand with it. I mean, everything in our body is so connected. So yeah, I mean, when you mention the nervous system, we have to be healing that. Then in turn, when you're healing the nervous system, you're healing your vagus nerve, you're healing also your digestion. And while you're healing your digestion, then you're in turn helping with your serotonin levels and your dopamine
mental
levels.
health.
So you're healing your depression and your anxiety and your mood. So it's just all connected, and it's great.
Exactly. And it comes full circle, you know? And I think the beauty behind it is that while we can do things like yoga and eat healthy and participate in a sound bath, we have our breath with us everywhere we go, everywhere we are. You know, you are in control of how you're going to feel in the present moment. It's in your hands. And I don't think people make the connection about like how powerful that is, because even with humming works for me great, but I don't really hum when I'm in public because I don't know, I just don't do it. I feel like I should be doing it like, you know, by myself in the bathroom or in the car or whatever. But when I'm in a crowded room, I can always just like sink in and then tune in with my breath. Oh, but I wanted to add disclaimer about like trauma sensitivity. So there are sometimes that some people, when you cue them to sync with their breath, they, because of the state that they're currently in, will not respond well to that. That's why people think that they can't meditate or that they shouldn't meditate, because they have issues with stillness. Because sometimes stillness brings up feelings of, it's scary. Silence can be scary. Toothing in when your body when it's dysregulated can be scary. So that's why when we cue people like before a sound healing session, I don't lead them to sink in with their breath at first. Eventually we can get there, and I give this disclaimer, but it's like, just feel your feet on the ground. Just feel your hands on your lap, your extremities. Once you bring it to here, some people, that can get really triggering. So just your feet, your hands, you know, and then once you've been working with them for a while, or once I've been working with you for a while, then we can lead into breath, then we can make the deeper connections, because my number one goal is just like to make you feel safe. And we're not perfect, you know, so that's why I say, if this feels comfortable to you, then follow my cues, you know. If closing your eyes doesn't feel comfortable, leave them open. If you hear other people breathing loudly and you think you should and it freaks you out, don't do it. You know your body best. Like, you are your own best healer, and we are at different points, different stages in our healing. So for me right now, sinking into my body can be like the best thing I do for myself in the present moment, but that's different for everyone. And another reason why I like sound healing is because it's not silent. You're not silent in your room. You know, it could be scary. Don't want to process those thoughts. There's noise at the same time. You feel, yeah, it's not totally quiet.
And you are doing something.
And I'm doing something that is, at the same time, like, whether you want it to or not, whether you're conscious about it or not, it's going to regulate your system. You don't really have a say in the matter. It's just going to do it for you, you know, because
again, we're water.
We're water, and we don't control being water. Like, we just are water.
A good disclaimer to throw in there.
Yeah.
You were mentioning that if you can and if you are comfortable with sinking into your breath, you mentioned that if you're in a big room, you're always with your breath, and that you can just sink in and go into a breathing exercise to get nice and calm.
So you can do this anywhere. You know, participate in sound baths, go to the yoga class, but take it home with you. Birds. Yeah. There's homework to be done. You know, it's in your hands. At the end of the day, it's in your hands, and I cannot emphasize that enough.
Yeah. I think that's my favorite thing that I like to mention to people, and that I want people to really get, is that ultimately your health is in your hands, and your brain, and you are so powerful that it's whatever you believe. If you believe that you can heal yourself and that you will get your regulated nervous system, then you will. And if you truly believe that you can't, then you're going to be stuck, and you won't be able to until you change, until you believe that you can. Because our mind is like, it's the number one thing. If you don't have your mind straight, you're not going to be able to find healing.
The reticular analyzing system phenomenon, you know, when you buy a car, you're thinking about getting a new car, and then you get it, or you make the decision to get it, and then you see it everywhere on the road. So it's a part of our brain that loves making connections to things and loves creating stories about our experiences, right? And so I have a thought in the morning, I'm gonna get a red car today, or my intention for the morning is to have a peaceful, joyous day. You say that every morning because of the reticular analyzing system. Guess what? You're going to see more red cars.
Yeah.
You're going to notice when you're in joy more often, because it's there. You know, you just have to be paying attention to it. And it comes down to these things that are seemingly involuntary, but when you know about it, you can hack it, everything. Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to mention?
Yeah, sound. I think we've touched. Oh, well, I wanted to say that if you wanted, like, there's scientific, like, peer-reviewed, large sample size for all these, like, academics out there that want to know the facts and want reliable sources that you can link, that I'll share with you, that I looked up on. There are documentaries. There is a large body of science out there that is analyzing this exact thing, and that's putting what we've intuitively known for centuries into scientific, factual, because a lot of people rely on that, and that's good, you know? Yeah. That's a good thing to know how to evaluate and be able to read scientific studies and be like, okay, so is this legitimate? Because there's bias that comes with anything, and you know, we want to be wary of those things.
Yeah,
so
definitely. But I love seeing that things that were done way back when science couldn't prove it, that they knew what they were doing.
Of course.
They were eating right intuitively.
They were
doing these sound bathings right intuitively. And now that we have the science to prove it, it is coming and it is getting proven. So love that. And we'll definitely put that in the show notes. Yeah. Let's get to it. I could just fall asleep after that sound bowl meditation. But I just wanted to thank you again, Sheila, for coming onto the YouTube. If you found this video useful, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. We'll have new videos every Thursday. Follow for more so we can learn, heal, and grow together.